I know you might be furious about what you just saw in the thumbnail and read in the title, but I want to tell you this before we start. I actually don't hate chapter 3. I don't hate it. A good chapter, not bad. Still, I found chapter 2 and 4 far superior, but it does what it does. Alright, I don't hate chapter 3. I enjoyed the Royal of Night, boss fight, and Tina's character. My main point is there's a lot of stuff in chapter 3 that just makes me disappointed at it, and I found that very recently after I did my video reviewing DELTARUNE. Hello, my name is Yoko, and I'm gonna explain why I found it disappointing. There is many reasons in which I will explain them. Why there is a lot of unused content in chapter 3, like a bunch more than the other chapters. Heck, there's a freaking unused section, an unused section completely removed, and that is, if you know, the cyber city section or the futuristic city. And I don't know why it got removed. Is it because the chapter will be too long, or is it because that is the cowboy section that has been said it will be cut? I don't know. It's just disappointing that there is less content. And what about the soundtrack? There's in chapter 3 about many unused soundtrack, and they are like officially released in public. And heck, one of them is heard in chapter 4. You can hear Chris playing Quarry. Like, why? And I don't know about Quarry when it will be used, but sandboard will be good fit also in the first board. Speaking of boards, I found it really bad in the replayability, and that is you have to replay them over again to play the chapter. Like, you already did them. The main point is to play the challenge, the physical challenge. These are fun and I like them. I like to replay those more than those boards. And that is something my friend, if you know him in the main channel, I call him Mr. Ultra Instinct, told me about that. The replayability in those boards are really boring, and I get it. You can't skip the entirety of the chapter. Like, you firstly skip it in the couch and reach the board, and what, you want to skip again? No, if I were Toby, I would not really, I'm not a developer or anything, but I would make it alternatively. The first thing in chapter 3 when Ralsei explains you that darkeners are fake, that's a good section that is really important and should not be skipped, and a lot of people would like to reread that. I won't skip that. But what about when you reach Tenna? You can skip. He will pop out in the screen like when you die in some of the challenges. Told you, hey, I get that you played those before. Why don't you skip them? We see characters like Sean do that. They knows that you beat the devil, and he asks you, are you sure? Are you sure you didn't beat that clown? Like, they know that you did it. And the main selling point of chapter 3 is the ending. Like, you can see it. The entirety of the first half of chapter 3 is like chapter 2. And until the ending, the full budget increase. There's a lot. You're fighting Tenna, you're fighting the roaring fraud, and you see the ending. I swear, if we only get chapter 3, a lot of theories will talk about that ending. A lot of that. The theories will be, what will we see in chapter 4? We will enter the shelter, something like that. You can see the ending is good, but the first half is like really boring. I want to play the physical challenge more than the boards, and the sword out thing, meh, you can beat that fraud without the mantle anyways. And speaking of that, let's move on to Snowgrave or the Wheat Dropped. Something I'm disappointed. and a lot of people are disappointed at that. That there's literally nothing about the weird road in chapter 3. And I get it. The whole thing of weird road is about Noelle. Yeah, it's about her. And given 2 lines about that is kinda fair, I guess. But not really. I don't think it is. Like, it surely will affect the mentality of I was about to say Chris. It surely affect the mentality of Chris. We saw that in chapter 4. Chris is really mad at us for what we did in Noelle. In the first thing we did in chapter 2, we put that ring. We screwed up her mentality. And the same thing goes for Chris. We screwed up the mentality of Chris. Chris should be affected by that too in chapter 3. Maybe we'll see Chris more depressed and characters will notice that. But we didn't get that. The only thing we get is a line from Iram. You enjoyed that like yesterday. But dude, are you talking to Chris or talking to us? And I don't like the whole thing of Weird Road being strictly linked to Noelle, just Noelle. That's maybe subjective. That's thing I don't like. But I don't know how to explain. I like Snowgrip as it is. I want to see more in chapter 5. But it could be better. I mean, the whole thing, it's called Weird Road. It shouldn't be affected just by Noelle, like called in the fanbase Snowgrip. It should be affected in the whole cast. Chris, Susie, Halsey. It's called Weird Road for a reason. If it was called officially Snowgrip, I get it. It's strictly for Noelle, but it's Weird Road. You take things entirely different. I mean, I could make chapter 3 focused on Weird Road with Ralsei, cause he think he's not real, and we could use that to screw up his mentality and make him do whatever we want to achieve an alternative ending that is good. And Susie will get suspicious at that in chapter 4 more than she is in the final edition. That could be done too. And in chapter 5 we get the end. My theory is we will get an ending of Snowgrip in chapter 5. So like that could be done for chapter 3 too. A better Weird Road, or as an alternative, as we are strictly in Noelle, we could see the effects in Chris. That Chris is just mad at us. So yeah, we could do that too. I get it that Toby did it in chapter 4. Won't it be better if we saw the effect before chapter 4, like we are in the night when we did all that, Bradley in the hospital? Of course that will affect Chris somehow. So he carried Bradley from there to there, from the library to the hospital. But we could see an effect on that. Maybe Chris will be a little bit more tired. I think I said a lot about that, but I think you get my point, right? My point is that 2 lines in chapter 3 for Snowgrave or Weird Road, not Snowgrave could be better in chapter 3. Could be better. And another thing that makes me a bit disappointed at chapter 3 is what Toby did tutorial. Like, why keep her sleeping the whole thing? I mean, all the fans wanted to see her and what she could do, and maybe a Snowgrave with her, or, I don't know. It feels like the mic treatment, but with tutorial to the fans, and nah, not good. Making tutorial absent for the whole chapter was just bad. I mean, her whole thing is to fix the Dreamer's family, and maybe we could do that tutorial. We could make her make her mind, and maybe return to Asgard. Maybe she just misunderstand him. And in chapter 5, we could do the same to Asgard, and they are back with Azrael. Won't be that a bit better for the story and to understand the character of Chris? I get it. It's like a plot twist that he works with the night, but you could make the plot twist even more interesting if you make the focus for the family. That's a possibility too. And what about the whole thing that there is no secret boss in chapter 3? I don't know if you could count Iram, because yeah, his boss was difficult, but dude, like we need a secret boss, a one with a shadow crystal, and had a freedom motif. In chapter 3, you had the setup with Ram. You could do it with Ram. Look, as a concept, you could maybe get Ram to get Chris, get inside a video game. The damage that happens there will kill Chris. And as a plus, in the middle of the fight, you could make an enemy encounter with friend, as you did it in the Iran boss, and put the Undertale system fight in it, so that will be a nice knockback to Undertale, because you said you want the players that played Undertale to play Deltarune, and like that you'll had and cooked up a good boss fight, a secret boss fight. I think I know that concept will be good because develop time or whatever, but it could be a good alternative to what we get. Not that I'm sad with what we get. ARAM is pretty difficult. We won't cap on that, but I wish we had more freedom motif in chapter 3. If you're gonna link chapter 4 and 3 with each, at least put some foreshadowing of what we will see. Maybe a foreshadowing for the prophecy, something like that. I think we saw that with Ranzi at the start of the chapter, but that thing is skippable. See? And I guess that's it. That's all what I wanted to say. Just went on a ranting about what I dislike about chapter 3. You can take it as a continuation of that video I did in the main channel, but it's just something I wanted to say. Don't get too mad at me, it's just my opinion after all, or what I see it is. I'm a bit disappointed of what we get in chapter 3. Not that I hate what we get, it's also good. And I hope a badge will be good in chapter 5. I'm excited. Not gonna lie, I'm excited. I want to see the end of it. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed. I really don't care if you subscribe to this channel. I do whatever I want in it. I just do random content. Subscribe to the main channel